An official business.
There you go. That's it? I just had this one right here. Preliminary tax.
I could give you a white pen that you
Yes, I already
could
said
keep, but.
He'll lose it. That's what he does. He loses it. Call to order for City of Cannon Falls City Council meeting for Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. If I could get a roll call, please.
Gesme.
Here.
Grote.
Here.
Jepson. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Cronenberger.
Here.
Lundell. Montgomery.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could get a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion from Ryan, second from Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Nobody is present or has signed up for public input, so we're going to skip that. Go straight to consent agenda. Consent agenda items may be adopted under one motion as presented or may be removed for discussion and resolution as council business. Item A, just and correct claims for the accounting period ending August 14th, 2024. B, meeting minutes for August 6th, 2024 City Council meeting. Item C, Resolution 2778, accepting a monetary donation of $200 from Harbor Freight Tools to the Fire Department. Is there anything the council would like to pull down? Not hearing any, I would accept a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion from Steve. I think Lisa was trying to get in. We'll give her the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Gets us to council business. Resolution 2777, adopting the preliminary tax levy and budget collectible 2025 and setting a public meeting date. Neil.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I guess we beat the budget to death over the last couple of months, and tonight we're going to attempt to certify it to the preliminary budget to the county. I sent you out an amended general fund budget here. Thank you, Derek, for catching that one line item. So with that said, did everybody get that email I sent out? Correct? So I just wanted to touch on a few things that we haven't touched on for the last couple of months. I'm not going to go over the whole thing again because you've heard it and heard it again. Remember when we talked about the water and sewer and the percentages, and so I went back and did a little research, and last year when it was so dry, the actual water percentages in dollar amounts was up 9%. This year, when we talked about it, I went back and looked, and we're down 17% because of all the rain. So that's the volatility of water and sewer rates. I know everybody likes the rain because they don't have to water their gardens, they don't have to water their grass, but it hits the water account very hard. So I just want you to know how it goes up and down based on weather. So with that said, when you go up on a percentage basis, you're looking over several years, because in reality, we're only 8% off for the two, right? But we're still down 8%. So I want you to realize that that's how that works, and just giving it an inflationary number every year does not hurt a thing, because I can't guess what the weather's going to do, because that's the revenue side is what really gets can be affected. The expense side, we can say, well, no, we're not going to do that project this year because we don't have the money. But the revenue side, I have no control over. So just an FYI.
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
If we're not using as much water and therefore as much sewer, doesn't the expense of operating that go down a little bit, or not really?
Very little.
Okay.
All the pumps, everything has to still run.
Okay.
So it's very little. Yeah. So I got another department that we should really talk about, and that's the ambulance. And we've been talking about that throughout this whole project of doing this budget. Next year, you'll see that I did balance it, but under miscellaneous revenues, I got about $123,000 that's unaccounted revenues. And where we get that money is still to be determined. Yeah, we got money for the state that's a Band-Aid that we can use next year. You talked about using some recycling money maybe to buy an ambulance or do something in that sort, which would be a great idea. Next year, I know Tim has been waiting. You can't wait too long to replace your fleet, because now pretty soon you're going to need 2 ambulances. And it's like running 250,000-mile cars. Pretty soon they're both done, and it just beats up your budget. Same thing with an ambulance, or same thing with the public works. You keep that on a rotation, and it certainly pays dividends when you only have a certain amount of money every year. So I know he's still working on that consultant, with that consultant. I don't know when he's going to come to present to us to see their findings, but I know he's been in communication with me on certain items, so that's still coming on that side. But we'll use that state money that we got. That's what it was for, to balance budget for next year. But you and the future council, because I know some of you guys are not going to be here next year, and this is kind of a serious issue. You're going to have to figure this one out. I'm not going to be here, but the next person is going to have to work with the council, with the remaining council and the new council members to figure this out. And it's not just a $5,000 deal. It's to balance this year, according to Tim, what he provided me with revenues, it's $123,000. And you have to pay the staff, otherwise you won't get staff members, right? They'll go somewhere else. That's the volatility of not very many paramedics out there. But then when you pay that, and you only get this much revenue, you know, it's tough. So we're going to have to find some other means. And next year, I would definitely, whoever's here, bring it up early, and make sure we get working on it. Okay. Last night at the finance, we won't have to do a report because I'm going to cover it tonight. They had a discussion on the liquor licenses that we had talked about previously, reducing that. We talked in quite a bit about it. What they came up for a recommendation was a 10% reduction in the on-sale license. Not the off-sale. The off-sales are a few $100s. They're very small. It's the on-sale that is up there in price. So that's their recommendation, and if we feel that is appropriate for the people or for the license holders, let's do it. We can start working through it because we have to get that all put together, and we'll start working on the fee schedule also, because it all goes in one. The other thing they talked about was the donations, I think, and the chamber has requested additional dollars. And Matt, if you want to take over from here.
Yeah. We talked about increasing the chamber's donation from $5,000 to $7,500 to match the fair. And we discussed, again, the legality of donations has to be available to all the citizens. And we talked about Deck the Falls, the event that the chamber does, Trick or Treat Trot, Fun Fest, different names that they have for it now. I mean, so the chamber, and then their breakfast for the chamber, but all the things that they're doing. Maggie is doing stuff year round, and her budget is obviously not that of the fair, all those things, but we're just saying for the availability to our tax-paying citizens, if we're making donations, I think that it would be fair to match what we give to the fair to the chamber. So if the council approves that, I think that that's a change that can be made in our budget. As long as there's a consensus. Does it need action or just?
It's kind of like what I talked about last night. I will find room in the budget and move things around a little bit, and then you will approve it at the final. We don't need to add additional dollars. I'll just move some stuff around that we can, on a $3 million budget, a couple thousand isn't much. So, so the total preliminary levy for this year is going to be $3,584,090. That's a 4.32%. We tried to keep it into that 4% to 5%. I think we did pretty good, and I got to commend again the department heads came in and they worked hard, and they I appreciate that. It makes budget season a lot easier for you guys, a lot easier for me. It goes smooth when we can all work together and help save the residents in town some money and still keep the place working good and running right. So you have a resolution in front of you, number 2777, that we would like to adopt tonight. Our hearing will be held on December 3rd at 6:30, and our final budget levy adoption will be on this December 17th at 6:30. So December 3rd will be the public hearing for the people to come in and talk about it, and the 17th will be final adoption and then once again, and you know, I kind of say this every year, but if you want to change it, we can only go down and not up. So I think we're pretty set and locked in. I don't expect, unless there's something really on your mind, I think we'll be at $3,584,090. Any questions?
So 4.32.
4.32.
Yep.
I'm gonna make that a motion.
Motion from Steve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Ryan. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. That gets us to our reports. Library Board.
We didn't have a meeting this month.
Perfect. Finance Committee, like we said, the budget is what we dealt with tonight in city business, council business. Planning Commission met last night.
Forever.
Oh, what was on there?
Well, no. Would you like, I can summarize it unless you'd like to.
Go ahead.
There was a vacating an alley here on the north side of town. There was splitting the lot of Artisan Plaza. There was the Bethel's Rock Church at Grand O2 Center, and then there was the racetrack and zoning of Urban Reserve. All those topics got dealt with. They will be on our consent agenda first meeting in September.
Yes, September 3rd.
Yep. Public Works and Park Board met August 1.
We had council since then. So
Oh, it was just a, got it. All right, we'll go around the horn. Jed.
Mayor and council, we've got several projects around town moving forward on 72nd Avenue Way. They have working on 72nd Avenue Way. We asked the residents to have some patience with the construction as they're grading that road and getting that ready. It sounds like next week they're going to start working on the turn lane, and so yeah, right there in front of the school. So that's great timing.
All right.
It didn't work out a month ago. The Timber Ridge has got asphalt down. There's a couple another foundation in, and a home being built. So they're moving along on that one. John Birch Park is moving right along. The wall's looking nice. Third base dugout's looking pretty good. And then we got our 3rd Street. It's moving at a it's moving. So they're putting in the storm drain as we speak, and hopefully we'll see curb and gutter and road in the near future, so.
Do you happen to have an estimated date? I've been asked by multiple people with football season coming, John Birch Park. I know that the equipment is technically out of the way, but people really want to know when they can see it.
I don't have a date because they pushed everything back, so their timeline is off, so I don't have an exact date for John Birch.
That's fine. I know
But they're moving right along. I'd assume that they will surprise us, so.
Perfect. Thanks, Jed. Chief?
So last meeting, in addition to us having fun here, the officers, fire department, and ambulance were out doing National Night Out. Probably saw it in the Beacon. They had a very good time. I believe there were 8 parties, and just a lot of interaction between the EMS services and the community. Primary function for National Night Out is to get people to know their neighbors, which in a community our size isn't that big of a deal. But, you know, in larger communities, it certainly can be. And so we're very fortunate to, you know, have neighborhoods that, you know, people pretty much know their neighbors and you know, have those opportunities together, see the fire truck, see the police department, that type of thing. So my officers told me it was a very good time. Aside from that, we pretty much have wrapped up most of our summer things. That was also the night of Cannon Cruisers. I had a kickoff meeting for Goodhue County's FEMA response. So that's underway. I'll be working with Jed and Tony and trying to set timelines for the contractors that we're doing some of the cleanup of debris and that type of thing. The process, you know, for those of you who have been on for a while, we've been through these before. They are not fast working with FEMA. But as long as we follow all of their rules, we will get reimbursed for 75% of our cost from FEMA. And because this was a FEMA declared event, the state will pick up the other 25% of all the eligible costs. So at the end of the day, our costs are going to be very minimal, but it's just a lot of documentation and following the guidelines to get us there. So if you're expecting FEMA to send us a check next week, please be patient. It will arrive. They always have been good for their money. It just is a few steps we have to go through to get there. But we are going to be getting started in that cleanup process. And I know Jed and his crew had cleaned up along the Swan area, that debris that was right by the benches and stuff. We'll be getting the rest of the debris out that's in the river and the walking path, bridges, that type of thing yet. So there's an update for you.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Sarah? Neil? All right, we'll go around the horn. Laura?
I'm good.
Lisa?
Nothing tonight.
Brian?
Nothing.
Derek? Diane?
Although it was a long meeting last night, I am thankful to people of Cannon Falls who care enough to attend these meetings and participate.
Steve?
I agree with Diane. Other than that, nothing.
All right. Thank you for filling in. I dealt with COVID, probably the worst I've had it. So I appreciate you guys being able to hold down the fort. Same thing, most packed I've seen this chambers in the last 6 years, so people are very passionate. I thought arguments from both sides were very well received, and I'm very impressed with how the Planning and Zoning Commission handled that meeting. There was a lot of contentious stuff, and Steve, you did a great job. Last thing, I want to say thank you to all of my council members. The filing period is done, so I know that I'm going to be losing some of you guys going into next year. I'm going to remain positive. We've got 4 more months left, so there's still a lot of work to be done in your term. So I want to say thank you for your time. For the people who have filled out the paperwork to run to be candidates again, and the new candidates, I wish everybody the absolute best wishes, good luck in the campaign season. And for those of you that are coming back, you're stuck with me for 2 more years. All right? Without anything else, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Derek, second from Laura. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.